This is strange. Maybe I won't. This is maybe too casual. But hi, welcome to another episode of Heather and Hops. My name is Kat, or Catherine. I go by Kat Weaver on Ravelry and Instagram, where you can always find me if you want to chat. This is my little part of the internet where I am sharing my my knitting journey. I started knitting in September, and I struggled to find a way to connect with people in the local area for a variety of reasons, and this platform's been amazing so far for connecting with people, and the response has been really kind. I can't believe there's more than 100 of you, which means I get my own URL now, so thank you very much, and thank you so much for talking and communicating and sharing your ideas, and it's been really nice. And if you're new, welcome. Hopefully I explained enough. So yeah, I've done quite a lot of knitting, and I'll get to a reason why I maybe won't have quite as much to show as previously. But yeah, so I always like to have a drink with me. Today I have this beautiful handmade bag. I can't remember who it was made by, but I'm sure my other half would know. And I am having a matcha latte. Bit of a treat. So I'll pop that down. I'll start off. I am wearing my SKYHILL hat. This one was knitted up in West Yorkshire Spinners Jacob DK in the light and the mid grey. It's a pattern by FODEN. I talk a lot about her, or I have done over the last few months. And this is my cropped version of a turtle dove by the lovely Melissa from ESPACE TRICOT, knitted up in Juniper Moon Farm Stratus, I believe, in their grey colour. Yeah, I really like this. I get a lot of wear out of it. Both patterns are one that I would recommend as a new knitter, and if you're a bit more experienced, they're great sort of not having to think too much knitting projects. So yeah, I have one finished object, and I guess I should explain that a little bit now. So fingers crossed, I have been working for King Fibre for the last month. This project that I've been working on was a sample for the shop, but we don't have a shop, so it's sort of a sample for the booth and for some photos and just to show people what the yarn does. So I didn't actually pay for the yarn, which is why the colours are not what I maybe would have used. But the yarn itself is lovely, and I'm not paid to say that. So this is totally my own feelings about my own projects, as opposed to trying to sell yarn, because I've been gifted the yarn, but I'm not here to advertise, or it's just an opinion. Is that okay? I hope it's okay. But I have had a lot of fun with this project, and if you did see last week's episode, 2 weeks ago's episode, you will know that I'm talking about this, and it is, I can't believe it's finished really. There's quite a bit of knitting here. It is the Melted SHRUG by SUSANNE SOMMER, and I believe it was designed for Vogue Knitting Live this year, which obviously I didn't go to. But so it is completely finished. I will try and pop in a photo of me wearing it. It's quite a difficult one to share, but the construction on this was really interesting. I've got to say, I really enjoyed making it. So you don't, there's no seaming to be done at the end. It's all knitted as you go. So you work a section, then you work a section, and it all sits together lovely. And actually now I've added this colour, the purple, in. I think that the colours come together a lot better, and it is not quite as intense as I once thought it might have been to the eye. I do have an aversion for some reason, and I try to let go of judgment to neons. It's not really my thing, but I do actually really like how this has come together. I have found myself putting it on in the evening, So when I've come in from work or after yoga, you know, some tracksuit bottoms and a pale grey top, this is incredibly snuggly. The Melted Baby Suri, which is the neon colour running through it with the light grey, so this one, it just feels amazing on the skin. And this is the merino singles for the rest of the colours, and again they feel lovely. It was a pleasure to knit this project, really. It's a lot of work and a lot of learning in terms of brioche and the construction, but if you are after something that is going to be snuggly and colours that you would choose yourself, I can definitely recommend this pattern. It's very easy to read, it's very easy to learn. And yeah, that's kind of all I've got to say about this project, really. It's just another project that I've quite enjoyed doing. Very, very, very different to, if you've seen what I do, any projects that I've done before. So yeah. Hopefully I explained that well enough, but if you've got any questions about the project, do let me know. I'm quite happy to, you know, talk it out. So works in progress. I didn't make any, I've been knitting up, start your sentences. I've been working on a Fichu Bleu by Orlain Souchet, but I actually haven't put any progress onto it. As you can see, I've been otherwise busy doing that one. I have put a little bit of work into my Ramblin' Woman, which, Monica, if you're watching, avert your eyes. So I've completed another chart. I believe I've got, oh, let's get this one out of the way. I believe I've got maybe 4 rows, and then I get to split for the sleeves, which is quite exciting. But I have been working on this while on the train, which for some reason I think made it go a little bit slower than otherwise I might be, but I'm pleased with the progress of it. Again, this is all knitting up in West Yorkshire spinners. The neutrals are just the Jacob DK, and these are slightly variegated are CROFT. So they're West Yorkshire spinners too, but they're CROFT. Yeah, so that's where I am with that one. Again, Caitlin Hunter's probably one of my favourite designers. I'm really looking forward to maybe casting on one of these for myself in the future. But if you're a new knitter, I recommend her. If you haven't done any colour work, they're quite simple charts to follow. Well, most charts are simple to follow, but they're quite easy. There's not too long a floats or anything that's going to catch you out. Yeah, pop that away. So they're really all I'd really only been working on the Melted Shrug for the last 2 weeks, where I'd ended, I should have mentioned it previously, but I ended up having to pull one of the front sides out. I'll show you it again. It's a lot easier to just go back than to not. So I knitted the whole front here and actually had to undo it because I hadn't lined it up properly when I knitted it the first time. That was no fault of the pattern, that was simply me doing knitting quite late at night and in the dark. So just something to watch out for if you do take on the pattern. That's nothing against the pattern, it's just me being me. So I did have to do quite a bit of ripping out and re-knitting in the last 2 weeks. So it's alright, more knitting, more learning. But I did cast on, I got a bit of cast-on-itis maybe, so I should have maybe gone back and worked on my Fichu Bleu, but what I really wanted, because of I've been doing a lot of colour work and a lot of techniques, I wanted something really, really simple for on the train in the mornings, because I don't know about anyone else, but taking on my rambling woman is going to get quite big very quickly if I keep doing it, but also trying to work a chart at 7 o'clock in the morning's not really my thing. So I decided to cast on something that's mostly stockinette, so it's not, well, it is stockinette, so it's not too heavy going on the brain, and my hands can kind of do it without too much thought early in the day. So I knitted my soiree using this lovely yarn, this mohair from Spectrum Fibre. It's the smoke colourway, and I really, really loved it. So I managed to get hold of another skein because I had one left from my soiree. And I also came across this, which is just ROWAN KIDSILK HAZE, I believe, in the light blue colourway. It's really, really pale, and I saw these two together, and I just had to knit them together really. And initially I did think, oh, maybe I should just do a shawl, but I came across the cherry pattern, which is by Knit Cafe Midori, and it's quite a fun pattern. It's a very oversized jumper, and it's got different options for sleeves, and I'm going to hopefully do sort of like a elbow length, just past the elbow bell sleeve, so it'll puff out and balloon and kinch in here. And it's written, I believe, for a worsted weight, but you could also knit it just at a loose gauge for mohair. So I've gone for that, and I cast it on the train on Monday, so it's now Wednesday, so I cast it on Monday, and then I did it on the commutes basically. So I've got, might be quite difficult to show you, I've got it on very small needles, but that's where the contrast colour is, and that's the sort of texture we've got with it. It's knitting up quite quickly, and I guess that's because it's at a loose gauge for the yarn. I have got it on two smaller cables really to be showing you, but hopefully you can tell. But I do really, really like the fabric it's creating, and I've got a feeling that this is going to get quite a bit of wear when it's done. So far the pattern itself has been easy to follow, but there's almost too much information maybe for me. It's just laid out a bit chaotic, but everything's there, and if not too much is there. So if you are looking for a pattern that's quite simple to do with a lot of information, Knit Cafe Midori has really got that. I wish I could show you this a bit better, but I'm working on the increases for the top. It is it is a raglan construction really, but the way the stitches are, it's not too obvious. I mean, you can see it running along here, but it's quite subtle just because of the material, the fabric that the knitting's creating. I'm really, really excited for this project. I was wondering what I'm going to do when the weather starts getting a lot warmer, in terms of what knitwear am I going to be able to wear. But this is going to be a lovely spring item, and I think in the summer evening. Very excited. But yeah, that's kind of all I've got to say to it. Again, Bryony of Spectrum Fibre is fantastic. I really do love her yarns, and can't wait to see this one finished. But for now it's going to be my commuting knitting for the next week or so. Probably longer actually. It is oversized. It's going to get a lot wider very quickly. Oh, you're going to come say hey? Yeah? Come on. Here she is. Who's that? You're going to say hi to the peoples? What do you think? Nope. And really, that's all the proper knitting I have to show you. which is still substantial. I've done a few projects, well, I've been working on a few projects at work that I kind of can't really show yet, which is exciting. And I don't like to leave things ambiguous or ominous, but it kind of is what it is. The only other thing is something that I cast on this morning, which is a pattern that was released by King Fibre, and it is the Moody Romance COWL, which is available on Ravelry at the moment. It's a free pattern, and I've cast it on in, this is called OKINAMI, and it's a high twist BFL, which is maybe more my cup of tea when it comes to softness. Is that what you'd call it? It's just a little bit more rustic with the BFL in there. And that's as far as I've got, but I've got to say I love this stitch. I practiced the herringbone stitch just on a swatch for a project, and I decided that I had to have one of these because it's a really fun stitch to do. It looks a little bit more complex than it really is, but it's quite an elegant stitch. Yeah, so I'm gonna fade in this, because it's held double, into this one, which is called Juniper. This one's on a soft and springy base, which is it's a little bit softer, as the name would suggest. But I'm quite enjoying this. This is a test knit of the pattern, even though it is already released. And it's just to practice with a couple of the new colourways that we've got. But again, I'm not trying to sell you, I'm just telling you. Please understand it as that. Just because I like the colours and I can knit what I like. But I am really enjoying knitting on my Rambling Woman and my Cherry Cowl when I can. So yeah, very short episode. Let's put this one down and settle back in for a moment. Got Harry Potter socks on. Not my house. My house is Hufflepuff, definitely not Slytherin. And my Patronus is a Nebulon cat. And I believe my wand is unicorn hair, cherry wood, with quite bendy flexibility. Audrey, must you do that now? Me? Yes, she must. So yeah, this last weekend I was working in Brighton at the tattoo convention. Not tattooing, unfortunately, or luckily for some. I was serving coffee, which is something that I've done for years, working at events. Really a long time, actually. I think it's really not that much off a decade now. But yeah, so I'll put in a little bit of video from there, maybe some photos, and yeah, if there's any questions, do let me know. If you want to see anything. I believe someone asked for a video on how I dye, so that's something that I'd like to do maybe when the weather gets better and I've got a little bit more time on my hands. And also I would like to do a roundup of all of my garments that I've done, just because it's amazing to see the transition from my very first crocheted cardigan, which is questionable as something wearable, through to my Swancho, for example, and the cherry, which is going to be a lot more luxurious and a lot more wearable than some of those projects. But I thought that would be quite fun, so if there is anything, please do let me know. I hope you have a really fantastic week, and I'm really grateful that you joined me on this little journey. Happy crafting, knitting, whatever it is that you do, and I hope to see you very soon.
Certainly has.